It's the 2008 Culinary Olympics in Erfurt, Germany. Put on every 4 years, this is the most prestigious culinary competition in the world. In Nate's 2 previous appearances at these Olympics, the team has won 5 gold medals and 2 silver. Team Nate is the only school team in the competition, but to the judges, the fact they are young and inexperienced won't earn them any breaks. So far, it's been a long road of struggles, failures, and triumphs for Team Nate. The road ends here in Erfurt. Team Nate is in the midst of their final marathon practice session before they leave for Germany. The idea behind this session is to simulate the final 24 hours of the actual competition at the Olympics. This is the sorting, slicing, and dicing stage. It is a meticulous process. Every component that will appear on the dish has to be carefully shaped, crafted, and presented. A lot of time is spent attending to every minute detail. Several cans of beans are emptied, and the perfect beans are separated from ones that are blemished or split. A terrine that has taken hours to mold is carefully sliced for perfection. Once the food has had its first coat of glaze, there is little that can be done to hide a flaw. Because of this, the attention to detail must be painstakingly meticulous.
Judges look at all the perfection or imperfection in the food. Not only the doneness, but the gaps and holes that shouldn't be there.
The touch-up process on some dishes can take up to an hour. Patience is a trait all good competitors must possess, or at least learn.
Are you a perfectionist?
To a point. Only to food.
What I want you to do, just for example here, so take with a spoon.
The competitors create their dishes over and over in pursuit of perfection. At each stage, their efforts are submitted to intense scrutiny by their coaches. Competitor Jack Lee is learning valuable lessons during these practice sessions. The tiniest error can mean the difference between gold and silver.
Every time you keep doing it, it's getting better and better. And those kind of flaws, you will correct it every time. So in the practice, what we tell him say today, the next practice he has to improve on that one, should not be a repeated mistake.
These dishes are sophisticated and intricate. They push the boundaries of culinary art necessary to attract the attention of the judges.
Not a lot of people use pork ears, so hopefully when they see that, they'll be very impressed with that. There's this piece right here. So in the ear, there's a firm piece of cartilage with some softer cartilage on the outside.
We're going to dip the proteins first because the gelatin's all nice and clear and fresh.
The dishes created at the Culinary Olympics are never meant to be eaten. They are served cold and coated with several layers of gelatin for the sake of appearance. This job of coating the food is called glazing. The glazing station resembles an assembly line. The culinary team functions in unison, ensuring each piece moves quickly through the process. Coach Ian Campbell lends his considerable expertise in making the dishes look like they're fresh out of a sauté pan, when, in fact, the opposite is true. Veteran chef and coach Troy Limburner supervises the team's unique glazing process.
So this is basically a clear, unflavored pork gelatin that we use, and so we heat it up to a certain temperature to maximize the liquidity, I guess, or the viscosity of the gelatin, and we bring it down very, very slowly to 100 degrees, and then we start to glaze all of the pieces at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and that maximizes the clarity, first of all, also the shine. It makes it look like it's not glazed at all, and that's the fooling of the eye is really what we're after.
They still have to do the cooking process. You can't serve it raw because straight away the judge is going to look at it and say, but that's raw, you wouldn't serve it like that in a restaurant. So you're simulating what you would do for the customer coming in to sit down, but in a sense you're doing it while it's cold.
Hundreds of items are individually dipped. Each one is coated completely and then drained. Then each piece is inspected for bubbles. Any bubbles found in the glaze are popped with a hot pin to keep the food looking as perfect as possible. Once the food is glazed, it's returned to the cooler. When the gelatin is set, the food is glazed again. This process is often repeated 3 times before the food is deemed ready for plating.
Right here we have a lamb shank ossobuco. The lamb shank is cured and then braised with a little biscuit and mixed bean cassoulet.
Although this is only a practice session, these competitors display their food like they would at the Olympics in Germany. Their coaches analyze each plate with the same critical eye as the Olympic judges. Each one of the NATE coaches has either coached or competed internationally. They know from experience what it takes to win.
Just be really careful with all of your meats. Don't, even if you're wearing gloves, don't touch the face of it because you see it's just smudged. Yeah. Smudged.
Yeah, you can just touch
really bad on the lamb.
And especially with the light.
The coaches find a flaw in Tang's sauces. They all look the same, and there are fingerprints showing on the plate. These imperfections will cost him in the competition.
It's criticism, but it helps you grow, right? Like for me, I think it's better that they tell me this kind of stuff before I go there. Knowing that I can fix it before I go to a competition.
Tang knows the comments he's getting are constructive. Still, the criticism is not always easy to bear. The coaches are just as harsh with Chris Tomke.
There's always minor things to change, and then just keep them in mind and work on them for next time.
The next time is the big show.
Yeah. Well, in between, I'll probably review my stuff and then maybe put together a few things just so that I feel confident when it actually comes to making the actual food.
Chris has a strong work ethic and he takes the criticism well.
You keep some wet towel or something.
Yeah.
And go close by. Just focus and see if there's no spots. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I came up with the currency theme because I figured currency is very unique to every country.
Jake Peltier is hoping his entry's distinctly Canadian theme resonates with the judges. For this practice session, he is very receptive to the feedback he's receiving from Clayton Folkers, a NATE instructor who has won many international competitions.
Do you put in the 5 or 6 practices? Do you put in all of your holidays? Do you put in all of your weekends? Do you put that effort into there? Really what it comes down to is, are you putting in more effort than the next guy?
If you're going to do it, make sure that plate and that plate's not together. Get that one out the way. You know what I'm saying, Jack? Mm-hmm. Bring that.
The coaches are deliberating at Jack Lee's table. Jack has created a buffet platter for 8 with 6 different appetizers. Jack feels relief after his critique. This practice session was especially difficult, but the feedback he received was much more positive than he was anticipating. He is now feeling more confident that he is up to the challenge.
From the start, everything kind of just went wrong in the beginning of the week. I had to remake everything by Wednesday, and I'm actually happy with what I did right now.
Overall, the coaches are pleased. While they feel the team is ready for the competition in Erfurt, they aren't willing to make any predictions just yet. There's still a long road ahead and a lot of work to be done. 20 boxes with plates, decor items, and culinary equipment weighing close to 700 kilograms are packed for the competition. The boxes will arrive a few weeks before the team, and some of the boxes won't be unwrapped until the actual competition. There's no margin for error. These packers must remember to pack everything. When we return, let the games begin. Team NATE travels to Germany to compete against the world's best chefs. They have youth and energy, but they also have inexperience. With the practice sessions and critiques behind them, the time has come for Nate's young chefs to compete against the world's best. They're in Germany for one of the most difficult competitions in the world of food, the Culinary Olympics. The Culinary Olympics are held every 4 years in the small city of Erfurt in Germany. It's here at the local culinary school in Erfurt that Team Nate will call home as they prepare for the competition. It's spacious, the equipment is good, and they can work around the clock. The fresh produce is carefully peeled and shaped, just like it's been done countless times before during the practice sessions. This time, though, the competitors know it's for real. The items that came over on the plane are evaluated and any necessary repairs are made.
Paint the tail too, or just leave it flat?
Jake needs to reattach the tail to his chocolate piggy bank.
I don't know. I'm happy with that one though. That's good. It fits the pig, I think.
It's the showpiece of his Canadian currency themed display.
And I'm also going to have money that's overlapped underneath the pig. And then I'm going to have my penny. It's going to go around here like this. And then I'm going to have a branch that comes in through the penny because I cut out the maple leaves out of the penny. And then the maple leaves will be coming along the branch and down onto the base here.
Even at this early stage, time management is critical. While the kitchen is well equipped, the competitors aren't familiar with the equipment, and there isn't the same level of support they enjoyed at Nate in Edmonton. They do, however, have 2 excellent support staff along for the competition, Rob Giroux and Margaret Andrus, who work tirelessly aiding the team members wherever help is needed. A tedious but necessary job is the unpacking of the plates shipped from Edmonton. Each plate has to be carefully examined for flaws, cleaned, then wrapped in plastic.
Ten pieces or 10 potatoes?
That's good. No, that's...
It's Saturday, the day before the competition. In less than 24 hours, the judging will be underway. The team members must keep on track to meet several checkpoints as they laboriously prepare their entries.
Yeah, I'm ahead of the game actually right now. So hopefully it stays that way.
Norman Brownlee is a veteran competitor and a Nate Culinary Program instructor. He's competing in the pastry category, the same as Jake Peltier.
Now I just finished up the fruit. Got some crab apples. Picked this off my grandmother's tree.
He feels the pressure growing as he's forced to cope with a few setbacks.
And I had about 10 of them, but there's about 2 good ones left.
Team Alberta has moved into the kitchen with Team Nate.
I think 3 pieces is good enough, or?
Although the kitchen is a little more crowded and noisy, it has its benefits. Team Alberta members take time to offer valuable advice.
I would lose 1 slice from the breast.
Tang Pham takes advantage of the extra expertise to learn about a better way to cut his squab.
My lamb didn't really turn out, so I have to redo it. One didn't turn out. This is the last one that I have that's cooked, that's brought from Edmonton. So hopefully this turns out. If not, then I have to make that again.
It's now mid-afternoon and more signs of strain begin to appear.
Are you on schedule or?
Nope. Not at all.
Almost every member of Team Nate has had to cope with at least one setback.
If we need to redo terrines or pieces of meat, just keep redoing them until you get it right.
But they know it's important to keep their cool and keep working through the problems.
I might be at least an hour and a half behind right now, to 2 hours.
We'll make it work. If we have to push back glazing by like an hour or so to accommodate for things, then we'll do it.
Chris Tomke assumes a leadership role, reassuring his teammates they can overcome the challenges. But time is slipping away.
Has it been another hour already?
Who's got you busy now?
Everybody. There isn't nobody specific.
But it'll be okay. It'll work out.
Coach Troy Limburner surveys the kitchen to assess the team's progress. He's concerned. Several team members aren't ready for the glazing stage, and they should be. Despite the fact the team is behind schedule, Ian and Margaret start to move the pots of gelatin to the basement where the glazing will take place. They can't delay any longer. In addition to starting late, the conditions in the basement of the school are less than ideal.
You could say yes.
It's very
you could say
warm,
no.
cramped, and the lights, which are on a timer,
Margaret, can we get your felt pen, please?
turn off without warning.
You know, at school, everything's hunky-dory. We've got all the facility there. We set it up to the way we want it. But here we are.
Normally, 3 coats of gelatin are all that's required, but because of the warm conditions, they're forced to do a 4th coat. This sets the team back even further.
Margaret? Can I get a little bit more gelatin, please? I gotta redip this.
At this point, the team is behind schedule. So much so, the decision is made to skip a break where they would have had a chance to rest, eat, and regroup. Now, they'll just have to press on.
In a competition, you want to do the best, and to do the best, if you see there is any flaw in it, you correct it. So that's what we're going to be doing it now.
It's now only a few hours before the team has to be in the exhibition hall for the competition. Everything seems to be going well. And then a problem is discovered.
Okay, let's change it. Right?
The coaches convene to discuss it. Something is very wrong with one of Jack Lee's plates.
It's just become too dark. So instead of tuna, we're going to change it to salmon.
It's a tough decision to make, with time quickly running out.
The fish doesn't turn out, upset me that it doesn't turn out, but this is for the best.
Down in the basement, Chris is missing the chaos in the relative sanctuary of the cooler.
For the last 4 or 5 practices, I've played it in the fridge. I guess it's a bit of a superstition thing.
Finally, after long hours of painstakingly glazing the food, the push to finish the plating is on. The schedule calls for the plates to be loaded into the vans by 4 a.m. so they can be at the hall when it opens at 5 a.m. But the team hasn't made up for the time they lost earlier in the day. Still behind schedule, they find themselves fighting the urge to rush the plating. But if any plate is not composed with meticulous care, it could cost the team a medal. With the team coping with serious setbacks in the glazing and plating stages, their medal hopes are in jeopardy. After the break, Team Nate struggles to get their table ready before judging begins, and Jake's pastry entry runs out of time. Team Nate has worked hard to overcome several setbacks in their bid to win gold at the Culinary Olympics in Erfurt, Germany. Some of the best chefs from around the world are competing for the coveted medals that ordain the best of the best. Now, it's less than 2 hours until judging, and the team is still behind schedule. The hall where the competition is taking place opened its doors at 5 a.m. Coach Troy Limburner is getting the team's table assignment. Luckily, he is fluent in German, and that is speeding up the process a bit. Other teams have already started setting up their tables and are moving in the elaborate set pieces that will form part of their displays. Coach Limburner knows they are losing precious time. He has competed in this event before and is very aware that the hour and a half they have until judging might not be enough. He and Coach Ian Campbell get to work setting up the team's display tables while other team members move the rest of the items in from the vans outside. It's the first time they've seen these boxes since being packed weeks earlier. Then they discover the unthinkable. Some items are missing. The situation is the source for some friction within the team.
How is it all yours? Look at my risers. This is my centerpiece, the candles.
But as quickly as it flares up, it's over. As competitors, they must remain focused, and time continues to slip away. Judging begins in just over an hour. The hall has an unmistakable international feel. Many displays reflect the cultures of the entrants, with teams proudly displaying their nationality. Some teams go to great lengths to have intricate display themes. The level of competition is apparent from the displays coming together throughout the hall. Back at the Team Nate tables, they're finally ready to unpack their plates. As the lids are gently removed, they find some have not made the trip from the school kitchen to the hall without incident. A few of Tang Pham's plates will need to be restored.
Tack it, and then tack it up there.
For Jake Peltier's pastry display, this is where the hard work begins. Most of his pieces need to be assembled here at the table.
Spray, 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 spray.
It is a delicate task requiring more time than he has left. The strain is clearly showing on Jake's face, and the rest of the team has begun to notice. When it becomes obvious Jake won't have his entry ready in time, the rest of the team pitches in. The voice over the public address system signals that there is no more time to prepare entries. The judging has begun, and all the teams should leave the hall. But Jake is still not ready. He kneels precariously on the table, attending to the finishing details of his showpiece. Meanwhile, judges have already arrived at Team Nate's other table and are evaluating Jack Lee's entry. Working on borrowed time, Jake's hand trembles as he desperately tries to finish his display before the judges can disqualify his entry. The team is back at the school, their fate now in the hands of the judges. The past 24 hours have been a roller coaster of emotions and challenges. They take a few moments to reflect.
After I left the hall, I was just kind of looking back and thinking about things I could have done differently, maybe changed a little bit. I'm a little bit critical when it comes to stuff like that.
Of course there's a rush, especially when your plate's all messed up and you open the lid and you're like, oh crap, I have to replate. Especially you don't have the sauce that you're supposed to on the plate, and you have to improvise and use something else.
I thought for sure it was going to fall on me, for sure. But I had the backup one, so I was like, if it falls, then I have the backup one, I can try one more time, right? So that was like always there, like I can try one more time, it's no big deal. If that was the last one, I'm like...
I was thinking about what if I could have done it over just one more time. Maybe it'd been a little bit better. But we'll see how it goes.
Later that day, the competing teams from around the world are gathered in another venue at the hall to learn who will leave with medals for their efforts. Team Nate, having had a much-deserved rest, seems relaxed as they wait for the awards ceremony to begin.
And we have, for this first day of competition, the first gold medal to Jack Lee.
Then, with the announcement of Jack Lee's name, the celebration begins. One by one, each member of the team is called up on the stage.
Bronze medal for Jack Lee from Canada.
The hard work, the lack of sleep, and mishaps are all forgotten.
Please come on stage.
Facing the world's best, Jack Lee and Chris Tomke are awarded gold medals. Tang Pham wins silver, and Jake Peltier and Norman Brownlee both win bronze medals.
When we won that first gold medal, really it was the weight of the world was entirely off of our shoulders. That was it. And then everything else was just falling right into place. We couldn't have scripted it really much better.
We had high expectations, which is a little bit daunting when you, especially from the history that we've had, and then coming here, you want to repeat the same success. So we set a very high bar for ourselves. But yeah, I think we did what we came to do.